Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. My name is Andrew, here with Marcus and Morgan Luttrell. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show, subscribing on YouTube, all the things you guys do to show us love and support all of the guests we have on. If you haven't already, make sure you're following us on social media, Team Never Quit. That way you can be in the loop when we drop new episodes. Let's kick this thing off with a Patreon question, all right? Patreon questions coming from Tyler, who asks, what is your least favorite thing you ever did, or you had to do growing up?
Roof a house.
That was the hardest thing we ever did.
What did he ask?
Least favorite thing. Was it still that?
Those are two different things, aren't they?
They could be. They could be the same or not.
Oh, well, the least thing we'd like to do again. Yeah, it'd have to be that roof in that house.
Roof in a house. Arguably the hardest.
We were together. Our answer's the same.
Most miserable experience. Worse than Hell Week.
I mean, I thought we was going to die.
Roof in a house.
How about you, JR?
I'd have to say the hardest thing that I ever did growing up was when I think I was 12 or 13 years old. And my buddies and I went out egging cars. We lived in town. We would egg some cars. And the cop showed up at my house and asked if it was us that did it. And I said no. And he left. And as soon as the door shut, my mom asked me, were you lying? And I think the hardest thing I ever did was tell her the truth, that yes, it was actually me that did it. So telling the truth to my mom about egging the cars was probably the most painful, hardest thing that I had to do after she literally watched me lie to the cops.
So what'd you get in trouble for? Lying to the cop or egging the car?
More so lying to the cop.
Right. Yeah. That's what we would do.
There's a life lesson right there. We're gonna put that on the quote wall.
What was the punishment?
Actually, she shook her head and didn't talk to me for about a week. Really, there wasn't a punishment. She understood where I was coming from, but the having to deal with the guilt of every time I seen her for the next week,
That pain?
that look and her shaking her head at me was enough. Was a punishment in its own.
Sure, she didn't tell the
mom. Disappointing.
She didn't call the cop.
Yeah. No, she didn't.
So there's a real fine line right there. That's a good lesson learned too. So I think maybe, I don't know, mom would have done the same thing your mama did, but I think the old man would have whooped the hell up and called the cop.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? If it made it to him, mom kind of that buffer, right? But egging the car,
we did that.
Yeah. I think if we would have lied about it, because we always got fessed up. Like when we get busted, we're like, hell yeah. That kind of deal. But that could be day situations. Like what day you caught them on too, you think?
Time of day as well. Yeah. Good point. That was a good question.
Tyler, thanks for asking that question. Hey guys, if you want to ask a question to our guest, to Marcus, to Morgan, head over to patreon.com/Team Never Quit. You can join us. You can support the show. That's what helps us drop new episodes every week. It helps us put out these videos on YouTube and everything else we're doing. So make sure you support us on Patreon if you can. If not, just listening to the show means the world to us. We've got a great guest in store for you guys. JR Vizaine, a 6-time qualifier for the National Finals Rodeo, is using the determination and mental toughness that he honed as a wrestler, along with his strong faith to confront this latest, most serious challenge. Vezaine suffered a broken back after riding Frontier Rodeo Company's Brazos Bash, September 22nd, 2018 at the Pasadena, Texas Livestock Show and Rodeo. He spent 6 months at a rehabilitation facility in Sandy, Utah after the accident. He's continued rehab exercises at his home gym, with his next goal being able to stand on his own. Welcome to the show, JR.
Thanks for having me, guys. And first of all, fanboy here for a little bit. I read your guys' book. Marcus, I just want to say thanks to you guys for your service, man. And I had an infatuation with Navy SEALs. My uncle was a Marine, an elite Marine on an amphibious team. Did a couple tours over in Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff. And I have a brother that actually just finished up with his training. He went Army, and hopefully he goes Green Beret or Delta Force or something. I'm trying to push for him because I think you guys are badasses, man. So
I appreciate that.
Just want to say thank you guys for your service, and thanks for having me. I'm super stoked to be on here with you guys.
Thanks for letting us do it.
I can tell you, but yeah, we're humbled to have you on here. It's refreshing to have a cowboy on our show. I got to tell you, real life, no joke, cowboy in the room with us. We grew up on a ranch.
We grew up on ranches.
So we appreciate and respect everything that you got to get up and do every single day of your life and have your whole life. And even more so now that you're having to do it from that chair, that speaks volumes to your character and your drive. So we seriously.
The only reason I still do it is because I don't want to go get a real job.
Yeah, we say that all the time.
There's that.
I got to tell you, buddy. So hearing your story, watching the videos, and seeing what you had gone through, and it's so recent too. I can't imagine. I'm sure. I don't even. Have you really kind of got your head around exactly what's happening to you now? And is that? It seems like you're in the middle of both worlds.
Yeah, I guess the only way I'd answer that question is so I grew up, I guess just a little background history. I grew up in a Christian home. Not that we went to church every Sunday, but we were strong believers. Grandma, mom was very spiritual. I was led in the right direction, did like youth camps and youth group and that sort of stuff growing up. So I had a very strong faith base growing up. Once I got rodeoing, I drifted down the other path for a little while, was a bit of a lost sheep, did my fair share of partying and running amok, and kind of hit rock bottom there in 2015. I actually broke my back the first time. No, it didn't require any surgery or nothing, but it put me out for the rest of the year. And I kind of that one happened up in Canada. Horse smashed me in the chute and broke T4 and 5, just broke some wings off, some transverse processes off. Didn't leave any permanent damage or anything other than it put me out for a year. Well, 6 months, but the rest of the rodeo season. Kind of had a little come to Jesus and got my life turned back around, got married. And so I guess I've always had that faith. And when the accident happened, or the wreck, I never call it an accident because I don't believe that anything happened, or that I believe that things happen for a reason. So when the wreck happened, I believed right away that I'd receive a miracle, honestly. And I still believe that. I thought it happened in 3 months. And when it didn't happen in 3 months, I thought it happened in 6 months. And when it didn't happen in 6 months, I thought it happened in a year. When it didn't happen in a year, I still believe in it. But, so I spent a month at Houston at tier rehab, and then I went to Sandy, Utah for 5 months before coming back home. And while I was in Utah, I met a guy there that similar situation, rodeo guy that broke his neck and was paralyzed. He's been paralyzed for 40 years, I think now, or 30 years anyways. And he told me, he said, I was still kind of in that up stage where I was grinding at rehab every day, and I hadn't been home for 5 or 6 months. And he said, you'll hit a rough patch, and you'll just have to finally accept that you're in a chair. And that really hit me. That really hit home to me, because I have the mindset that I guess I've accepted the challenge and accepted the situation, but I still to this day have not grown complacent with where I'm at. I still strive to get up on my feet and walk. I have trainers at the house here that I'm still grinding at rehab at least 4 to 5 days a week, if not every day. And still believing that with the grace of God, that I will receive the miracle and walk again someday. I thought it'd happen by now, but I do know that it'll happen. So I guess I don't know, really. I don't know that I've completely wrapped my head around. I guess no. To answer the question is no, I haven't. I haven't fully accepted that this is the rest of my life, because I don't believe that.
We're here to help you with that.
Absolutely. Can you, for our listeners out there, can you give a background on the wreck and how all this transpired?
Yep. So for those that don't know rodeo, our season starts September or October 1st and runs until September 31st. So all the money you win in October, November, December counts for the next year. So you can travel with up to 4 guys and all buddy together, enter the same roadies together. So there's 3 or 4 of us that travel together. And at that year, I was traveling with Stephen Dent, Ty Brewer, and Tanner Haas. And Ty Brewer and Stephen Dent were safe. They had the finals made. And Tanner Haas and I were on the bubble. We call them the bubble. So the top 15 in the world get to go to the NFR, which is being held right now, actually in Arlington. Just started last night, right? But it's usually in Vegas. Yeah. Yep. It's like the Super Bowl of rodeo. It's the top
awesome.
15 in the world.
If you've never seen rodeo, it's awesome. It's worth going to watch that.
It's rank. So I was 14th in the world, and Tanner was on the outside of the bubble. And there's a handful of rodeos at the end of the year. They're a little bit smaller rodeos, but if you're on the bubble, you have to go to them. So that week was Amarillo, Texarkana, and Pasadena. And so we had been to Amarillo, we'd been to Texarkana. I was placing at both of them, and we headed to Pasadena. I've done a lot of research and talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people on rec day, like they have weird feelings or something feels off. None of that happened to me. It was just a normal day, another rodeo.
All right, y'all, let's take a second to thank our friends over at Paint Your Life. Paint Your Life is one of the podcast sponsors for the day, and Paint Your Life has been taking care of us for a while now. That's because they're amazing. They help us put on this show every single week. Paint Your Life. If you guys have never heard me talk about them, which you can't imagine that would be the case unless this is your first time listening, and then I'll forgive you. Paint Your Life is the coolest company. They will take any photo you have, your pet, your family, your loved ones, whatever it is, and they'll actually work with you with their world-class artists to create a done-by-hand original painting. And what's really cool is it's super affordable too. I was really intimidated when I first started working with these guys, and they were like, yeah, we're going to take a photo and turn it into a painting. And I was like, this has got to be expensive. It wasn't. It was super reasonable. And the quality of the artwork that I got back of my dogs, Tank and Kona, was super impressive. If you're looking for a Christmas gift, if you're looking for a gift for someone in your life, or maybe you're looking to get yourself something, Paint Your Life is certainly the gift to give this season. The process is super easy too. You just jump on their website, which is paintyourlife.com. You can order your portrait in less than 5 minutes. It's quick, it's easy, and you get your portrait in about 3 weeks. At paintyourlife.com, there's absolutely no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money's going to be refunded. That's guaranteed. And right now, as a limited time offer, Paint Your Life is going to give you guys 20% off your painting. That's right. So if you've been looking for that gift, I'm telling you guys right now, take advantage of this. 20% off, free shipping. All you guys have to do to get this special offer is text the word TNQP to 64,000. That's TNQP to 64,000. Text TNQP to 64,000. Paint Your Life. Celebrate the moments that matter most.
At the end of the season, we've put on 70,000 miles that year. We've been gone from home for 200 days, so it's kind of a long, grueling gridiron sport. You're kind of wore out. You're ready to just make the finals and go home and be away from people for a while. So I guess I had those feelings, but as far as a weird feeling that something bad was going to happen, I didn't have those type of feelings. I showed up. I had a young horse from some people I knew. They said it was a colt. They bucked it. They had just bought it from some guys. I'd been out a handful of times at the Cody Night Rodeo, which is just kind of an amateur rodeo. So it hadn't really had anybody of my caliber on it yet. The horse circled around there, just couldn't really take the iron. Circled around there, bumped back into the chutes and flipped completely over backwards. And it's the weird deal about the whole situation is I'm a horseman. I was a horse trainer growing up. I've trained horses since I was a little kid. So I really have a knack in the rodeo world for getting along with horses that are bad in the chute or that a lot of other guys don't get along with. Like I really had a knack for getting along with those type of horses just from being a horseman. And I'd had probably 100 horses flip on me and could always get out of the way. But the way it happened is when she hit the chute, she kind of reared up and then preloaded on her hocks and jumped straight in the air and came over backwards. And in bareback riding, you run your hand in a rigging and slide your hips up on the rigging, and that's where all your pressure comes from. Well, when she jumped in the air, it ran me kind of down her back, so I had no pressure on the horse at all. I couldn't get out of the way, and it happened in the snap of a finger, but it felt so slow to me. Like I felt her coming over, and I was a duck on the water. I couldn't get out of the way. She folded me in half instantly. I felt it break. When she got up, through the grace of God, she got up away from my hand, so my hand did come out, but she stomped right in the middle of my guts when she got up. And actually that hurt worse than anything, and they were completely surprised. I broke a couple ribs, but other than that, nothing. They thought I had internal bleeding. I couldn't breathe, but anyways, as she smashed me, I went to sit up, and yeah, I couldn't feel my legs, and I knew it was bad. I didn't know exactly how bad. Everybody rushed over to me, and they life flighted me to the Texas Medical Center. Dr. Carl Schmidt did an emergency surgery. They actually didn't do it till the next morning, but did a 5-hour surgery, put 2 rods and 8 screws, and told me good luck.
And the outcome of that?
Yes.
Down.
Yep. So belly button down. I have a very minimal feeling. I've gotten like some sensation back as far as like tingling, and not hot and cold. I can't feel hot or cold. Like pressure. I can feel like at some spots, like I can feel you tap my knee, and like bone, anywhere that hits bone, I can kind of feel. But as far as like skin, I can't feel like even light touch yet. And movement wise, I have gained some movement back. I guess a lot of people ask like, what was the probability? I never asked, like percentage wise, what the outcome would be. While I was still in ICU, the doctors would come do their rounds about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I think they do that so you won't ask them very many dumb questions. So it took me a couple days to get my questions. When they did come back, I did ask him how bad it was. Dr. Carl Schmidt said he'd been doing these surgeries for 30 years. He said in his career, it was one of the worst breaks he'd ever seen. So what it was is they call it a chance fracture. So it split my vertebrae horizontally completely all the way through at T10, and then partially through on T9, and it shifted my spine, and that's what pinched my spinal cord. So it broke that. He said a lot of times you'll see it vertically, but this was horizontally completely through and shifted the spine. And I asked him, what's that mean? He said, well, you'll have a slight to slim chance of ever gaining any feeling or gaining any feeling or movement again. And it actually put a big smile on my face. I said, well, if that's all I need is a slight or slim chance. And I've been grinding ever since. But yeah, they gave me a slight or slim chance to ever gain any feeling or movement back. So as far as feeling, I haven't gained much back. Other than like some sensation and stuff, but movement wise, I've got my hip flexors back. I'm able to start lifting my knees. I can squeeze my legs together. It's slight, small, minute movements as far as 2 years. I'm post 2 years past the injury. So yeah, it's very, very minimal, I guess I would say, but dang sure seeing improvement and still working at it today.
Have you ever heard of a young lady? And Marks and I have been talking about this since we knew we were going to have the opportunity to chat with you. We had a young lady on our show. Her name was Victoria Arlen. Have you ever heard of her?
I haven't.
Okay. She didn't have an injury, but she developed a bacterial virus that affected her brain and her spinal cord. She was in a for 3 years. And then when she came out of the vegetative state, she was in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the waist down for 8 years. And a flicker happened. She went to a facility called Operation Walk. And there's 2, one on each coast. She can walk. She did the Boston Marathon. But she has no feeling whatsoever from the waist down. Yeah. Cannot feel anything. And the doctors were able to pull the function back into her muscles without having the nerve endings firing for feeling, touch, proprioceptive movement. I've been wanting to ask you and tell you about her. You can YouTube her. Amazing story. We like I said, we've met her. When you said you have, it's coming back, keep going, keep grinding.
Yes, sir.
It will,
Yes,
you will have the opportunity to walk again. I feel it in my
Yep.
heart. You know, I've been waiting to tell you, is like, I've seen it done.
That's the motivation you need to stay. What you're saying, that glimmer of light, it's just like with anything else, it grows brighter and brighter. And I had a buddy of mine actually pulled me off the mountain. He was in a motorcycle crash right when he was getting out, paralyzed from the waist down. And all the time I'm trying to think in my head, like, all right, you need to break it down into your movements. Like, how much time you spend asleep or on the toilet or driving somewhere to where you get up on a horse, and how much time of your day, those are your wheels. It's the nuisance was using your legs to get back and forth, right? That's what you needed them for. But you have the capability of doing that. That keeps you going and doing what you love, which perpetuates your growth back to getting it where you want it to be. Those things have to feed themselves. In order for you to walk in, you got to love something to walk towards. And that's how we stay motivated. I have that cage around the spine is something. We're a select club.
It's actually both of us had identical injuries.
Yeah, ours is the same.
We both broke our backs in T9, 10, 11, and 12, and then L3 and 4. We broke our spines, and I actually damaged my spinal cord too. I have nerve damage from the waist down, and lost the feeling in my legs. Not like you did. I'm not trying to compare myself to your injury at all, JR. But it came back, and it was through the grind, through just arduous, painful, mindful, nauseating. I'm done with this. Keep going. And eventually, I'm hoping and praying that one day you'll have that. It's like working out. When you start working out and you're fat and out of shape, and you see that muscle definition, like, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. And it just drives you even further. I know it's coming
farther. Yep. That's I don't know. I've studied a lot of people. So I guess one of the reasons I went to Sandy at NeuroWorks there was prior in 2017, I had a buddy, actually, I didn't even know him. He was a young kid, up and coming bareback rider that got flipped on in the chute and broke T12 and L1 and was paralyzed from the waist down. And he went to Sandy there at Utah, and he's walking now. He's doing back handsprings, he's running, hunting. So right away I called him and I said, Braxton, he used to look up to me, and I said, man, here I'm looking up to you. I said, what'd you do? And he said, you got to visualize and not quit, man. And I don't know, I've held on to that ever since. But since then, I've studied a lot of people, and I've reached out to a lot of people, and I pick their brain. What'd you do? Because I don't know, I've learned a lot. I was very dumbfounded on the wholeness of spinal injuries. And you can take I've met people that have the exact same injury as me, and we're completely different stories, and have completely different feelings, completely different movements. And that's the thing, is you can have 5,000 people that they say they have the exact same injury, but 5,000 different outcomes too. So I've picked a lot of people's brains, and the people I study are the people that are walking again, and the people that have beat it. And every single one of them has the exact same answer. I didn't give up. I didn't get comfortable with where I was at. And that's what I've tried to do is not get comfortable. I've gotten comfortable, and I've overcame a lot of stuff, and I'm able to do a lot of things that I didn't think I would be able to, but not getting comfortable with being where I'm at, I guess, is one thing that all those people, that everybody that beat it has said, is they just never give up, man. And that's my goal, is to never give up.
God bless you. Hey, do you think we could connect him with Victoria somehow?
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
That would be awesome.
Find some emails or phone number and see if we can get you guys just so
we're doing it right now.
So she can if we can get you guys together, she can share her story. Again, you can YouTube it. But yeah, 8 years in a chair, and then broke a world record in swimming.
Miss Victoria, we're gonna need you to check in.
Dancing with the Stars, and then ran the Boston Marathon a few years ago. Just
that would be, that'd be right. Just shoot, even if it might just be even having to pack up and go to one of them places she went, or something, and give it a try. That's what I honestly, I would try. If you told me that hanging myself up by my pinky toe and rubbing peanut butter on my back would be the fix, I'd dang sure try it, you know? So that's
cowboy way.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
That's a cowboy. How's it work? That work? All right, let's do it. Come on.
I'm willing to try anything.
Hey, JR, who or what did you lean on to get you out of bed every morning to just keep pushing?
Oh man. Well, first and foremost is my Savior, God, man. I think, like I said before, I think things happen for a reason. And at that time in my life, I was really close to God. I'd kind of been a wild party animal, drinking, kind of living that lifestyle. And I'd come back to Jesus and was starting to lead more people to Christ. And I don't think that any of my past life or prior sins or anything was a punishment from God to me. I believe that the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and I think that he was attacking me. So right away, I put my faith and trust in the Lord. And then since then, my wife, she's a rock, man. She pulled up she got the devastating phone call. She was 23 hours away. So she got on the next flight available. She got to me. I just got out of surgery by the time she got there to Houston. And she stayed with me in ICU. And then as we spent a month at Tier, everybody was pushing her to get a hotel room there close or whatever. But she pulled up, she got one of them lay down chairs and slept right in my room with me. We shared the room with a roommate, but right there at Tier at rehab, she slept right in the same room with me. So my wife has been my rock. My family obviously has supported me, and I guess my wife doesn't get enough credit either. She told me September 1st that she was pregnant with our first kid. So we were expecting our first child September 1st, and my wreck was September 22nd. So she was 12 weeks pregnant or something at the time. So, or 2 months or barely pregnant at the time. So she was a rock, man. And then obviously my rodeo family stepped up. We've been blessed beyond measures, man, with not only financially, emotionally, spiritually. We had all my family flew down. They took turns, mom, my in-laws, pards, all my friends, everybody, they all supported us. We're still getting support. I had some guys call me up the other day that they did a bareback ride in school and said, hey, we want to send you the money for the school. I said, I can't accept that. They said, no, we know how it is. Even though it's been 2 years, we know that the financial struggle never stops. So we need to help our own. We need to help our brothers. So we're still receiving support, man. And then I've gained a huge following since then. Like, not that I'm some multi-billion guy followers, but I had like 5,000 followers on Instagram, and within 3 weeks I had over 15,000. Like,
this episode of the Team Never Quit podcast is brought to you guys by Grammarly. I've been using Grammarly for quite a while now. Actually, probably for the last 5 or 6 years. People always joke I graduated from Waller, which is why I might not have the largest vocabulary. That's okay. When it comes to having clear, effective communication, it's much more than just catching spelling mistakes, and that's why I've been using Grammarly Premium for a long time. It's because it gives you real-time feedback and insights that are going to help you elevate your writing through tone, word choice, clarity, and much more. I use Grammarly because of some of the features it has. Clarity suggestions, meaning it's going to help make sure your sentences are structured in a way that sound very clear and it doesn't have redundancies. Vocabulary suggestions. Probably my most favorite feature is that I can sound smarter because it suggests words that might make me elevate my communication. I just wish Grammarly could do that with me in real life when I'm talking to people. But that's all right, because Grammarly Premium is going to help you guys write like pros with advanced real-time feedback. You can level up your writing for work, school, personal projects, whatever it is. It's going to help you improve your writing on all your favorite sites and apps: Outlook, Gmail, Twitter, LinkedIn, much more. Don't just say it. Make a statement with clear, flawless text that's going to impress the people around you. Grammarly doesn't just correct your mistakes. It helps you build your skills as a writer. And you guys know the Team Never Quit podcast sponsors always show love to our listeners, and that's no exception today. Elevate your writing with 20% off Grammarly Premium by signing up at Grammarly.com/TNQ. That's 20% off Grammarly Premium at Grammarly.com/TNQ. MMARLY.com/TNQ. You guys elevate your riding. Go check them out. Remember, when you support our sponsors, you support the podcast. Go check them out.
I've had people I don't even know reach out and call me and egg me on. And like you said, other people in similar situations reach out and call. It's been really awesome. What's been really awesome is having people call me and get to help other people and be that motivation to other people, because it's funny because I get all the time, JR, I don't know if I was in your situation, if I'd have the attitude that you have. And I guess I have some special attitude. I don't really know what the attitude is, other than I don't feel like I've changed as a human. My attitude towards life hasn't changed. It's just my goals have changed. You know, I don't know. I've been a fighter my whole life, and my goals changed, I guess. Instead of wanting to win a world title, it's wanting to walk again. But, as a person, I don't feel like I've changed, or my outlook, I guess my attitude hasn't changed. So it's been really awesome for people to reach out to me and me be that inspiration to other people along the way. But man, yeah, I guess instantly I leaned on obviously putting my trust in the Lord and being okay with his plan and his timing, my wife, my family, and all my close pards.
Any community, just like the rodeo community, and when we all get injured in that capacity. I mean, you were just leading yourself, just like we lead yourself up the ranks in the rodeo. I mean, there's those the divisions of the guys that get hurt. They got to have those leaders too.
Yeah.
And when they're turning to you, man, looking to you, I mean, that in itself, all that motivation and all that spirit, man, when they throw that on you, that you can feel it.
Yeah. I'm like my hometown. So I moved to Montana 5 or 6 years ago, I guess. I'm originally from Wyoming, and that community did a fundraiser for me. And then my town that I live in now did a fundraiser for me. So both communities stepped up. It's unbelievable. I'm so humbled by the amount of support that my wife and I have received, and my family that we have received, from just the outpouring of blessings from long lost friends to people I didn't even know, and just so many different people have stepped up.
I hope you realize that speaks volumes to the kind of man you are. Yeah. I mean, we applaud your humility, but I hope that you realize that people are doing that, reaching out to you and asking, how are you doing this? What can you advice can you give? Because you're an exceptional human being.
Yeah, you are doing it. That's why. If you stop doing it, that'll stop happening.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't know. I'm just a broken man in a broken world trying to serve a big God, man. And right away I said that. I told my wife. She came in, she was crying, and I said, honey, it's going to be all right. I said, God's got a plan, and God's got a greater plan than even we can think or imagine. And honestly, my biggest goal out of this whole situation is to be able to once I get walking again, is to be able to give back to somebody else and be able to help somebody else along the way. And I still strive for that. I have my hard days. Don't get me wrong. I struggle. I get pissed off. I hate the world some days too, but my whole goal is to be able to be that encouragement and inspiration and motivation to others along the way as I continue on my journey, man.
Well, you ain't broken. You're battle tested. There's a huge difference.
Right, man. Dang
I
right.
mean, if you were broken, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be sitting here in front of us. Hey, you break.
That's a sad thing, actually, too, that you say that. Is so many people get in a situation and do break and do get broken and
you know, there's a special place for the cowboys and the ones who take care of the ponies.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're growing up, man. Don't show back up with what you got issued. You're not being a cowboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Show up, bust it up, man.
Yeah.
That's the Cowboys. Anybody who tends to the ponies, man, that's the thing. And that world in itself that we occupy and our capacity is different. So when injuries come in, man, you can tell who's out there and who's truly earned, went out with their boots on.
Yeah.
Better to
don't ever look down at it. You can't look at that any other way.
Better to wear out than rust out.
Amen, man. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, how's life on the ranch post accident?
Oh, it's so crazy, man. It's so fun. It's hard. I was a very capable human being. That's been probably my hardest struggle is accepting help and asking for help. But in lieu of that, there hasn't been one thing that I haven't been able to accomplish post injury that I couldn't get done before. I've just had to find other ways to do it. So I'm still able to get horseback. I still rope at my brandings. We still run 100 cows and 1,000 sheep. And definitely I wouldn't be able to do it without the help of others.
I misunderstood that. 1,000 what? Cattle? You got 1,000 head of cattle?
Yeah, 1,000 sheep.
Oh, right. Okay.
100 head of cows. Yeah, we run sheep and cows both. But yeah, it's been crazy. I've got 4-wheelers rigged up. I got booms off the end of my horse trailer to still get horseback, to still ride, shoot 2 to 5 days a week, all day. I still can rope.
Is there anything that you're like, hadn't figured that one out yet?
Honestly, like, I haven't made a contraption how to get coffee cups out of the top cupboard of the drawer yet.
Yeah, I think we got the fix for that.
But other than that, no, I've found a way. It's some jobs take me way longer than expected. Some jobs, as far as even like getting a bale of hay from my in-laws live just 1.5 miles away. We actually live on their place, and then have started putting together some chunks of ground. My wife and I have bought some ground here close, but our house is actually one of the original homesteads on the house that we fixed up. Had some crews come in after the wreck. We had some crews come in and do an addition for us and stuff. But our house isn't even wheelchair accessible per se. Like, other than I have, we built like a little front porch that has a small ramp to get in the house. But other than that, like, I don't even have a bench in my shower. Like, I still have a portable bench that we use. Like, we didn't even set it up for wheelchair accessible. So, but like getting a bale of hay from my in-laws house down to here, like, it might take me 3 hours compared to 10 minutes. But no, I
think it takes most guys that long to get to the
yeah, maybe, but I
don't try and slide something past us, man.
I got all sorts of crazy stories, like even like tagging calves, like during calving season, like tagging calves. I rigged up a 4-wheeler. I didn't want a hand shift because of the electrical problems with them. So I got a manual shift 4-wheeler, and I just built a hand deal to shift it. And I'd tie a rope on the front of my 4-wheeler, and I can still get up and rope them calves and get the tag or the calves tagged, like stuff like that. I've even figured out how to do. I went as far as trying to get a left hand throttle on my 4-wheeler so I could drive faster and rope with my right hand, but we couldn't get it rigged up right. It actually ended up being a snowmobile throttle for left hand. So I'm still in the process of figuring out how to get my 4-wheeler rigged up with the left hand throttle so I can rope going faster, but that might get a little dangerous too. So might be a blessing in disguise that I can't go nearly as fast while roping. But man, honestly, I haven't found anything. If there's something that I want to do, I figure out a way to do it. And that's been my whole life. If I set out and want to do it, I find a way to do it. And
what kind of 4-wheeler?
I got a Honda. I actually bought it as soon as I got home. So it's an 18 Rubicon. I was so rough on it in 1.5 years, I had to send it up and get new rear axle put in it. My wife's going to pick it up today, actually. So,
and you need a left-handed throttle.
Yeah, I know there's a way to do it. I don't know if it's like put a dirt bike throttle on it or what, but I rigged up. They call it a Goldfinger, and it's actually a left trigger throttle, but it ended up being for a snowmobile. So I would have had to change the whole contraption, and we couldn't figure out how to get that done. But
see if we can figure something out on our end.
If I could figure out how to get a left-handed throttle on that thing, I'd be deadly with a rope on it.
Yeah. All right.
And if it's too hard for us to figure that out, learn how to rope with the other hand.
Yeah, that's what I started doing, was starting to rope left-handed. So
So obviously you have a goal to be able to stand again and walk again, but what about rodeo? Do you have any intentions to get back into rodeo?
There's no way your wife lets you do that.
Way.
It's funny. I've really thought about that. And so like the NFR just started last night, and my wife asked me, she said, does it make you sad, or do you have sad feelings about that? And my honest answer was no. I went and helped do a rodeo school here the week before Thanksgiving, and some of those kids asked me, man, do you miss it? And honestly, I think the obvious, if I was still capable and still willing, that's probably what I still would be doing. But as far as missing it and having that, oh my gosh, my life sucks because I'm not rodeoing, I don't have those feelings. What I do miss the very most is being able to train horses like I used to could, I guess. I have found ways to do some horse training and some higher end stuff and training my own horses more off voice command and being able to rope again and that sort of thing. But taking a colt and starting a colt from the ground up is my ultimate passion. And post rodeo, my goals were to get into reining cow horse stuff and go to the NRCHA shows and start doing working cow horse things. So as far as rodeo goals, I think as soon as I get able and capable enough, that's where I would go towards that direction versus rodeoing again. Man, there's no way I could leave my boy at home for 200 days and not be home. I don't know. I tip my hat to those rodeo guys that go rodeoing and leave their kids at home.
All right, guys, let's thank another one of our sponsors, Stamps.com. Hey, thank you, Stamps.com, for helping us put together the podcast every single week. Hey, guys, this holiday season, more people are going to be mailing stuff than ever before. That means the post office is going to be crazy. You don't have time for that. Stamps.com brings the post office and even UPS shipping right to your computer. Mail and ship anything from the convenience of your home or office. With Stamps.com, anything you can do at the post office, you can do with just a few clicks. Plus, Stamps.com will save you money with deep discounts that you can't even get at the post office. We've actually been using Stamps.com for quite a while. If you've ever ordered anything from the Team Never Quit shop, then we've used Stamps.com to help ship it out. And that's because they help make it easy. Whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller fulfilling orders during this record-setting holiday season, or even a giant warehouse sending thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can help you guys handle it all with ease. With Stamps.com, you guys can even get 5 cents off every first-class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Stamps.com is a no-brainer. It's going to save you time, money, and it's no wonder over 900,000 small businesses are already using Stamps.com. Don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for Stamps.com instead. There's no risk, and with our podcast promo code TNQ, you guys are going to get a special offer. That'll include a 4-week trial, plus free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and just type in TNQ. That's Stamps.com, enter TNQ. Stamps.com, never go to the post office again.
There's no way I'd be able to leave my little boy and wife and stuff at home like I used to.
That's a different topic. Yeah, we can go down that road.
I want to be
right about this stuff, right? Like your day-to-day, the actions that you do kind of deal. That's what people need to hear. I mean, it's this overview stuff's great. But when you were talking about like with the ramp at the house and the shower, it was like, with those make your life easier.
Yeah.
There's a difference between not being able to do it and sustainability and just with ease, and that the practice, having to do it the hard way, and then you get the easy way. Same like with being a young cowboy. That's how you become an old cowboy, get your ass handed to you, and so the young ones can come up and do some of that stuff you're talking about. Hardest thing to do is stop on it when you're living on a ranch and doing what we're doing. Is if we're not doing anything, something's not getting done. If there's no lazy day out here, otherwise you're just being freaking lazy. Which we have days assigned for that.
Yeah.
But especially with guys around in our generation, man. Even with the kids will do something like, oh, that's cool, but get out of the way, punk. Watch this. Let me show you how to do it. And we still get out there and do that crazy stuff that we did when we were boys and our dads weren't doing, but we just keep holding on to it. It's the same thing. And that never come out of you. That's what drives you in the direction you're going. And if my mama ever heard you say that you can't train horses in any direction, trust me, you can. I mean, there's never been a rider that hadn't been throwed, never been a horse that hadn't been rode.
Amen.
It's man.
Yeah, no, I've learned to started getting my horses to lay down on cue, some of that stuff so I can get on, going off voice commands, more say like that sort of thing. So yeah, I definitely, I had to swallow the hard pill, yeah, it definitely looks different and stuff is different. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that even the ranch life wasn't different than what it was before. It's definitely different. It's changed 180%, but that's my passion. I don't want to go get a real job. It's been something that my wife and I have a passion for, and we do, and we've definitely found ways to do it and get by. So I do rely on help more, but there hasn't been anything, even as far as cutting strings on the big round bells and putting the horse feeder on. Like, there's been days that I do that myself. So there hasn't been anything that I absolutely wanted to do that I haven't been able to find a way to do it.
I got another question for you. When it comes to riding the four-wheeler and the horse, so ultimately the horse is the ultimate motorcycle. Like it wants to stay underneath you. That's back in the way back when that's all we did was ride horses. The drunk guys can make it home because you just give the horse in. He would keep you up there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about a motorcycle forward, man. They'll pitch you. They didn't care, right? I know that's the beautiful thing about when you harmonize with the way y'all ride. Are you fine? Is it?
I have
different.
Oh man, so I was super proud when I got home, and there was some guys. So the whole time, like 6 months, I went 6 months without being horseback. And that's the longest time in I think my whole life, like especially as long as I can remember without being on a horse. That there was like rodeoing wise, like I'd go maybe 3 weeks on the road. And then if I had a day or two to come home, I'd come home and I was horseback. Like I never went a month without being on a horse. So I went 6 months without being on a horse. And while I was in rehab and stuff, I'd reached out and tried to get horseback just to see how to do it and get to a facility that kind of would maybe show a guy and kind of see how it was going to feel. But then they had to jump through a bunch of hoops, and I had to get cleared by a doctor. And the doctor said you got to be a year post injury to before you get horseback and blah, blah, blah. So I never got it done while I was at rehab. We drove home. I don't remember the exact day. It was the first part of April, but anyway, it was on a Friday, and Saturday I was horseback. So, but I was too proud. I'd reached out to some guys. They had some saddles with some high backs that help support your, balance wise and stuff. And I was too proud to do any of that. So I had an old roan mare. We stepped her over to the back of a flatbed with my regular saddle, hoisted me up, and put me on. And I took 2 steps. I leaned forward and went to ride off. And honestly, I was scared for my life. Like, I was so unstable, no weight in my stirrups. I was holding on like a little kid, holding on to the saddle horn, trying to pull her back. She was kind of antsy and wanting to go. And it took me about 100 yards. I finally just put my hand down. She dropped her head and walked around. It took me a little while to get my balance and kind of get my seat. And I went around the pasture and came back to the house. And so since then, I did end up I rigged up a seat belt. So I have a seat belt, but I ride my normal saddle with a seat belt. Just actually the seat belt is just for my mind so that I can actually lean off there and rope something without falling off. But I've progressed a lot in how well I can ride, but it did take me a while to get that balance and it's almost completely backwards from correct riding. Like I really got to sit down in my saddle and kind of lean back instead of leaning forward. I actually probably am harder on the horse now than I was before. But I have made my horses work for me too.
You said you rigged the seatbelt. Do you have the Velcro that goes around your legs that go down the side of the?
Nope. I literally took a flank strap buckle. So what they use for rodeo flank straps, that when they pull it, the flank falls off. I have that as a quick release in case I do get in a jam and need to let it go, but it's just a piece of leather with a buckle that goes over my waist. No Velcro around the stirrups. I do rubber band my feet in the stirrups, say like if I'm going to be loping or roping or something, just so my feet don't bounce out of the stirrups. But just literally just a 2-inch wide leather strap that goes across my waist that I buckle down just to keep me in the saddle.
You find that your ponies are kind of receptive that there's something else going on up there?
Oh my gosh, man. It's I don't know how much time we got, but I got another crazy story. So I have this buckskin mare. She was a 5-year-old. I traded my wife's grandpa for her. I'll try to give you the short version of the story, but she wasn't necessarily a bronc like she bucked the first day I rode her, but other than that, she wasn't really a bronc per se, but she was always really watchy and kind of catty and always kind of snorty. And I cabbaged onto her like she was my horse. Like nobody else rode her. I didn't plan on selling her. She was just my type. She's strong. She's little but mighty. And I got her as a 5-year-old. I rode her all fall, all spring, so she'd gotten pretty broke, but still.
All right, guys, this episode of the podcast is brought to you guys by Free. Free is a modern nicotine pouch brand with an emphasis on impact and quality. Free's nicotine pouches are not derived from tobacco and are made using tobaccoless premium grade nicotine. So whether you're on the road or the job, you can feel free anywhere, anytime with their premium, high impact white pouches. They've got great flavors, all right? And they've got 9 and 12 milligram options, which is going to be higher than any other brand on the market. You can get it mint, mocha. They've even got flavorless options. And when I say zero use of tobacco, I mean it. They say other brands say non-tobacco or tobacco-free, but they still extract the nicotine from tobacco plants. Theirs is synthetic, and even safer, no irritants from tobacco plants, all right? Their tins are under $5. You get 20 pouches in a tin. No need to spit, which means you're not going to have that kind of awkward distraction that puts you, feeling uncomfortable around people. If you're looking for that healthier alternative to chewing tobacco or dip, but still you want to get that same strong feeling, you should definitely check out Free. If you head over to freepouch.com, that's F-R-E pouch.com, go purchase some of their brand new products. You can use the discount code TEAMFREE. That's Team F-R-E for 20% off for a limited time. Hey guys, remember when you support our sponsors, you support the show. Go check them out.
Still like catty, watchy, snorty, just my horse. She was with the brood mares during the wreck, so we just kicked her out to pasture. So she'd been out for 11 months. When I got back, I had this old reliable roan mare that actually my father-in-law had been riding. So that was actually the first horse I rode was my old good roan mare. But this buckskin, I just wanted to see if there was any way possible that I could ride her again. So I'd kind of asked a few people, hey, would you put a ride on her? Hey, would you put a ride on her? And kind of kept getting brushed under the rug. And they're like, no way, there ain't no way, she'll buck, blah, 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 blah. So she'd been out for 11 months. My brother-in-law and all my in-laws were at a rodeo. I was up at where my leather shop is doing some leather work about 3:00 in the afternoon. And I decided I had gathered her. So she was at the house. Out in the pen with all the broke horses. So I decided I was going to go see if I could at least get her caught. If I could get her caught, then and get her saddled, then when Sage, my brother-in-law, got back, that he had no way that he could tell me no anymore. He'd have to ride her. So I went out there in my wheelchair with a bucket of grain to halter. Like she's a little standoffish. She wouldn't come to the grain. So I got her gypped in a small pen, her and the roan mare, and kind of got her backed in the corner and back up, and she'd kind of run around the pen and wouldn't let me catch her. And the roan mare was just head over my shoulder, eating the grain. And I was kind of pouting. I was like, well, maybe this is just God's way of telling me that I can only ride the roan mare. So I put the halter on the roan mare and I went to lead her out the gate. And I got to the gate and I was like, you know what? Piss on it. I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I let the roan mare loose, got back in the pen. It was just me and the buckskin. I shook the bucket of grain. She wouldn't come up to it. So I got her gypped around, got her gypped in the corner. I'd back up, let her walk to me, go forward. She'd go around. I'd run her around, get her in the corner, stop her, let her face up, back up. Got to where I could brush her on the shoulder, got to where I could brush her on the neck. I threw my lead rope over her neck and she melted. It was instantly. Like I've had a lot of connections with a lot of horses in my life, but it's always like, you better do this or else type connections. And this was a completely whole different horseman connection, man. I knew she was fine. And I swear to you, it was like she knew that something was up. And I let her in the barn. I shuffled my saddle off the top rack, got into my lap. I wheeled up to her. Mind you, she's been out for 11 months, and like kind of a snorty, watchy, ouchy horse. I'm in the danger zone, right at her back flank. I get my saddle hoisted up on her. My wife calls me. She says, what are you doing? I said, well, I just got this buckskin mare caught. She said, you're lying. You're in the house taking a nap. I said, no, I swear to you. She says, hold on, I'll be up there in just a minute. So she gets up there and she's like, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to ride her. She said, you're crazy. There ain't no way she's going to buck. I said, no, she won't. I swear to you. I said, she's fine. She said, all right, well, let's see. let's get her out here and lunge her around. So I lead her out. I go to put my bridle on her. I literally touch her on the neck and she drops her head, grabs the bridle, lets me bridle her. I've never lunged this horse a day in my life. I've whacked a saddle on her, stepped on her, and rode off. And I've never lunged her a day in my life. And she said, well, are you going to lunge her? I said, I guess. So I hawk my saddle in her and I start clicking to her. She walk, trots, lopes around me one way, walk, trot, lopes around me the other way. I said, I told you, she's fine. She says, all right. She really, my wife she couldn't tell me no. So I had her lead her under the tree for me. I hoisted myself up. She let her under me, sat down and rode off like she'd never had a day off. So I actually have, I have a couple. I have 2 or 3 horses, but they definitely take care of me. I don't know. It's weird. It's a connection I've never felt before with a horse. Like, but yeah, I definitely think they know that something's different. Obviously, like we've had to make connections, like different cues to side pass, different cues to rope, different cues to go faster. And they have melted to me and changed to me and my style and my riding, to take care of me. So yeah, I definitely think that they know something's up.
Until you actually see that, you can't appreciate it.
No, the ponies are the best, man. They're
that's,
just like, all right, we don't have a language, we'll figure one out.
Mm-hmm.
What's a piece of never quit advice you could leave? I mean, you've already left a lot, but if you could leave one thing for somebody who's going through a rough time, a hard patch, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh man, I don't know. I got so much, but I guess if I had to sum it up into one, is my whole outlook on this situation has been there's 2 ways that you can look at it. You can either look at it and play the poor me game, why me, why this happened, or like I do every single day, I wake up first thing in the morning, I try to wiggle my toes. If they don't wiggle, I roll out of bed and figure out how to get on with my life. So I guess yeah, the one piece of advice I would say is don't play the poor pitiful me game. I don't care how bad it is. Somebody out there has it worse. I don't care if you think you have it the worst. I guess this would be the advice: is be careful what you're complaining about, because there's somebody out there praying that they had what you have. So don't find excuses, find ways to overcome, and just that, man, never quit, never give up, dig in, dig deep, and don't weaken.
Amen.
Thanks for sharing all that with us, JR.
Yeah,
Seriously, buddy.
Yeah, man. What's next for you? What do you got going on next?
Oh man, I just spoke with my trainer this morning. I'd been a little lackadaisical, so I got home. So at rehab, when I left Sandy, Utah, there, I was having a really hard time with it. I didn't want to leave because I was set that's where I needed to be, that they were going to get me there. But we were getting close to having our son too, and my wife wanted to come home to have the baby. So we made a conscious decision that we wanted to have the baby at home. We went to those therapists, and I asked them, I said, hey, is there some at-home stuff that I can do without being detrimental to my rehab? And they said, honestly, JR, if there was any person in this facility that we would feel safe sending home, it would be you. They said, honestly, we think that your work ethic, you won't weaken, that you'll actually probably get more out of being home and working on the place while working out than you will just working out here for an hour and a half a day. So we came home, I set up the gym in my in-laws' garage. They give me their garage to set up my gym. So I have a gym set up. That's where I do my rehab. I've stayed via Zoom meetings, stay in contact with my rehab facility. I went down there last September and got retested. I jumped a level on all my tests, so I was still progressing, kind of came up with some new workouts and came home. I'd been doing those workouts. They got really monotonous, kind of plateau and not really seeing any improvement. So I reached out to Doug Champion. He's actually an old rodeo buddy of mine. He's a trainer down there in Texas out of Huntsville. And he started training me. He sends me four workouts a week. And then I do just kind of my own, whether it's stretching or standing, or I have a walking machine set up here at the house, whether it's getting on that or riding or whatever it is. I try to do something every single day, but I work out for sure 4 days a week, if not more. So I've been doing that. I just talked to him. I'd gotten a little lackadaisical. I'd missed some workouts, got busy and told him, hey, excuses are like assholes and they all stink. So I ain't throwing out any excuses. So I set a goal for December to not miss any workouts. And I'm waiting to get into a trial deal back in Houston for an exoskeleton trial. It's a 6-week trial deal, to go try one of the exoskeletons. I was supposed to go this spring, but due to COVID, it's been getting pushed back. So I've just been waiting for the go ahead, to get to go down there. So I'm going to go down there as soon as that opens up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Seriously. Yeah. I call them once a week asking if I can come down. Let's see what else. I don't know. I did some stem cell therapy. I went down to Panama City, Panama in February and did some stem cell. They said to give it a year before I go do another dose of that. So February will be a year. The end of February, I guess the 1st of March will be a year since I tried that. So I guess see if that's something else we want to go try another dose of, or I know I've been looking into some like the epidural stimulator stuff. There's some trials in the States that I've been signed up for, but you're just on a trial list. So there is some out of country. There's some other places that you can just go buy one, I guess, if lack of better language there, but you can just go pay out of pocket to get one. I've been looking into some of that research. But other than that, no, man, just I guess what the motto of this podcast is, never quit. I'm just going to keep striving. I got a little boy that's 1.5 years old. Enjoy every minute of that. Try to be the best husband I can be, the best father I can be, and make the best version of myself as I continue on this journey.
That's awesome, man.
Hey, you're an inspiration to me, buddy. I can promise you that.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little while. Sharing.
No, man, honestly, it was an honor.
Make sure you let us know.
Oh, and I want to be there in Pasadena when you go back and walk around the arena with the American flag.
Hell yeah, brother. I swear, man, that'd be awesome.
At finals.
Well, yeah. Where can people follow you on social media?
I got a Instagram page, just my name, JR Vizaine, V as in Victor, EZAIN.
Want to plug your leather work?
Or my leather work. I have a Facebook page, Lazy SJ Leather. And that's on Facebook, just a business page. I don't have a Facebook page, but that leatherwork page. And yeah, that's about it, I guess. Lazy SJ Leather on Instagram, or JR Vizaine's my personal account. I'm on there more, but yeah.
Nice. Hey, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the show. Make sure you let us know what you think. JR, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
I'm gonna work on that Honda problem you got.
Shoot, man, if you come up with any ideas, man,
we got a lot.
It'd be awesome. We'd
be surprised we come up with.
We're gonna push this out to a couple 100,000 people, and I'm sure somebody's gonna come across with something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That'd be sweet. I did try. So I tried the Goldfinger. What it was called was the Goldfinger, and it ended up being, I couldn't find one for a 4-wheeler. It ended up being for a snowmobile, and so the Goldfinger, left-handed Goldfinger trigger ended up not working. But yeah, I know there's a way. I'm sure there's a way. I just haven't found one yet.
Well, overall, we
know some Team Honda people,
guys that can build stuff.
I'm gonna make
it cool. You see, they can freaking outfit.
That's my problem. Actually, I'm a cowboy, not a mechanic. I know if I was close to a mechanic, they'd have it done in a couple hours. But I'm very non-mechanical. Other than changing your tire, changing the oil, that's about as far as my mechanic.
Always be a mutual respect between cowboys and mechanics, and that's the thing. Right? Like trainer.
That's exactly it, man.
So it'll never go away.
That's for sure.
Hey guys, make sure you follow us on social media, teamneverquit.com social, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, leave a review on iTunes. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, JR.
Have a blessed day, brother.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was awesome.